Hi, I'm Guillermo. I'm 29 years old. I live in Canada. I'm Salvadorian, born and raised. Moved here to Canada 7 years ago, and I think that was one of the life-changing experiences, literally, that shaped me as who I am today. The reason I'm doing this video, it's because I had this idea that it's moving from my mind into this area on my chest, on my stomach. And I'm exploring that idea and I'm deciding to follow it. I would like to show who I am in the most authentic and truthful way to me. In my experience, moving from El Salvador to Canada was one of those moments where, in my mind, it worked as an opportunity to be whoever I wanted to be. I saw people doing things in a very different way than what I was used to back home. I saw different professions, different ways of dressing, different ways of living, eating. I was feeling so small. And what I decided was to start building this complementary version of myself. What I decided to do is first follow my parents' advice to study university, make good connections, get a good job. I thought that they were the best advice I could have, and I still believe that was the correct way to do it at that moment, which later led me to live the way I do now, and I'm grateful for that. Around my second year here in Canada, I started university. I started studying business. I graduated 3 years later with a business degree, and I was lucky to get an internship in a very good company here in Canada. Later, I had the opportunity to get a full-time position. I was not an intern anymore. That meant a lot to me because in business school, it's always this pursuit of getting the best job. It's a very competitive environment. So you got to learn how to network, how to persuade, how to communicate, how to present, how to do many things, technical skills, depending on what you're studying. So I learned all of that, and I was still lost for my career here in Canada. After I graduated with a business degree, I have worked with big companies, and honestly, that hasn't been all that fulfilling for me. I'm grateful for the life that I have, but I think there's something else for me. And I think one of the turning points was after I got married. I got married 2 years ago, and honestly, that's been one of the most life-changing experiences in a good way. Among many things, it's because I got to discover more about myself, about the world, and have a different vision. When you live with someone, you get a bit of their vision, a bit of their way of feeling, and you blend all of that knowledge, all of those emotions that you see every day on that person. You integrate it on your way of thinking in your life, and that's what happened to me. I was tapping into this more sensitive part of myself. For a lot of years, I was trying to control and evade emotions. I was enemy of emotions, basically. Like I try to not engage on them because I felt that I was drawn out of my center. I didn't feel that those emotions, either positive or negative, were part of of me. I felt them as external, and I feel part of that. It's because in Latin America, I grow, at least for men, I feel it's in general very present, the notion that men don't cry, men are not emotional, etc. Emotions are seen as weakness and instead of strength. So coming back to my turning point, since 2 years ago, I've been living in a different way, trying to embrace more of who I am, know myself more, and I feel I've taken little steps forward. These steps have touched a part of me that I didn't know it was there. What I mean is now I'm more conscious of the way I speak, the way I think, the way I handle myself through difficult times, through positive times. That's also, I feel it's an art, learning how to enjoy the moments and just let them remind you of the good that it's present at all times. It's just that you don't see it sometimes. Another thing that changed in these last 2 years was I was humbled by seeing my wife's adaptation experience here in Canada. So she moved from Guatemala to Canada to live with me, to build this family. And I know it wasn't easy for her because I could see her crying before and after she moved. And not because she regretted it, but because this life-changing experience was overwhelming. Seeing her like that made me admire that risk-taking, this bold way of being. She's a person that follows her heart, and I believe that influenced me a lot in these last 2 years in the best way. All of these changes in my life have made me realize that change is a constant. But whenever I transformed myself, I did that purposely. For example, when I moved here to Canada, as I mentioned, I consciously thought in my head that I would transform myself into a more assertive person, a more bold and brave version of myself, because I could see that there were so many opportunities out there, and it was only a matter of me taking them. So that was transformation for me. Right now, I've tried to explore deeper what I really like and I don't like. I'm someone that I like to explore my inner world and understand where my decisions, where my emotions, where my thoughts come from. It has allowed me to be where I am today. And I want to rely on that self-introspection to transform again and become a more authentic version of myself. What I think there is for somebody else into this, it's that could sound familiar to you, that you've had this experience that have made you realize you want to change, you want to transform, you want to take action on an idea, on a feeling, and you don't know how. So what I'm doing here, it's documenting this transformation. What this transformation is about is I realized I don't want to live working 8 hours a day from Monday to Friday for someone else for the rest of my life. And through creative actions, through creative pursuits, I want to be able to know more about what I want to do next. I've tried to go on blind about this into things that aren't necessarily what I like. There were just opportunities that were in front of me, and I try to take them. I've taken a few chances to explore business ideas, and I never truly felt aligned to what I was doing, how I was handling myself, how I was putting myself in front of the people, I felt that something was off inside of me. So I think the best way to go about this is to explore more about myself, something I've done, I believe, successfully for the past 1 or 2 years. And I want to discover where it can take me. So the way I see it is I'm going to be diving into my inner world, knowing more about myself. Lately, I've been doing meditation, journaling, and I believe that they're very powerful tools to achieve this. I'm trying to integrate into my routine different actions, different practices that give me cues, show lights about what I want to do next. Yeah, this is what the video is about. I'm trying to tap into a more creative version of myself. I call it the next door. I'm trying to discover what is the next door for me. And I will open that door, go through it with a different mindset. But to be able to go through that door, I have to be ready. And to get ready for that, I want to know more about how I want to put myself in that situation, how I want to present myself. I want to be my most authentic version and see where it takes me. That's about it. So to close, hopefully this journey will lead to discover tools, will lead to bring value for people that want to try as well to transform their lives, to want to become that more authentic and disciplined version of themselves and live a more aligned life, hopefully through this journey that I call it, of trying to find what's the next door. I get to show you the tools that I'm using, my journey, and you get inspired and you discover things as well as I am doing through the tools that you'll see here. So yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for your time.